It's it's Zeus from Greek mythology. Don't really have too much more to elaborate on than that.
Okay, maybe there's a little bit more I can cover. Beginning in 2010, First Second Publishing and creator George O'Connor of Journey into Mohawk Country and Ball-Peen Hammer fame teamed up for a series of graphic novels covering the history of the Greek gods.
Now, I use the term history kind of loosely here. I mean, these things have so many variations, interpretations, and iterations, so it's kind of hard to get one thing nailed down. However, First Second Publishing was kind enough to include a little guide on the inside cover of this volume. Unfortunately, because it's on the inside cover, it's kind of hard to get a decent scan of it, and this is kind of the closest approximation I could find online. Anyway, this is The Olympians, Volume 1, Zeus, King of the Gods.
Long, long ago, in the time before time, there was chaos. From chaos, Gaia, aka Mother Earth, came into being. Seeking companionship, Gaia created Ouranos, the sky, and the two soon became lovers. From their love rose life in the form of the gods of time, the Titans. However, there also arose the monstrous one-eyed Cyclopes, and the Hecatoncheires, giants each sporting 50 heads and 100 hands.
By the way, I'm really winging it on some of these pronunciations, so sorry if I butchered them, particularly with the Hecatoncheires.
Ouranos hated the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires, so he cast them into the realm of Tartarus, where they would be imprisoned for all eternity. But Gaia loved all her children and wished for them all to be free. So she fashioned a sickle from the metal adamantine and ordered the Titans to use it on Ouranos. With that, 4 of the 5 oldest Titans, Hyperion, Krios, Polos, and Iaptos, grabbed hold of Ouranos, with only Oceanus choosing to abstain. Thus, it fell to the youngest Titan, Kronos, to take hold of the scythe.
And yes, Kronos famously castrates Uranus, causing his father's essence to be spread all over the world, and this allows for the formation of the three Furies, the Nymphs, a race of giants, and most famously of all, Aphrodite. Also, somewhere around this time, humanity pops up on the scene, but I can't remember if humanity had always been there or if they were the result of this essence spreading around as well.
Kronos was crowned king of the Titans, and the others began to settle down and have offspring of their own, like Atlas, Helios, and Prometheus. However, Kronos went back on his promise to free those trapped in Tartarus. He also didn't want any of his offspring to do what he had done to his father, so upon their birth, Kronos swallowed each of his children. This angered Gaia, who instructed Kronos' wife Rhea to replace the youngest child with a stone before it was swallowed. The child, named Zeus, was then taken by a Titaness named Metis to the Isle of Crete, where he was raised in a cave by Metis, her sisters, and the goat Amalthon, who produced nectar from her horns. Over time, Zeus grew into adulthood. Along the way, he learned to shift his form into various animals. He also grew closer to Metis, and the two fell in love. Zeus explained that Gaia had told him that his siblings were still alive in Kronos, and to free them, Gaia had grown a special herb that would cause the Titan ruler to vomit up the others upon swallowing it.
And she dubbed it the McSalad Shaker.
Eventually, Zeus and Metis concocted a plan to slip the herb to Kronos via a jug of wine. Metis, with Zeus disguised as an old hag, approached Kronos under the guise of making an offering. But the Titan ruler saw through the ruse and almost immediately swallowed Zeus. Funny thing though, it turns out the herb wasn't really in the wine at all. Instead it was in the lining of Zeus's clothing. Soon Kronos is doubled over in convulsions. Kronos soon coughed up Zeus and Hera, who had long been dreaming of Zeus. After that came Poseidon, Demeter, and Hades. Finally the eldest Olympian, Hestia, emerged, but she was too far digested and is now merely a flickering flame.
Yeah, I know, I'm calling them the Olympians even though they haven't set up shop on Mount Olympus yet. I'm just doing it out of convenience.
Zeus assembles with his siblings and issues a threat. Kronos' time is over, and those who stand with Kronos stand against the Olympians. However, taking down the Titans is easier said than done, and the war rages for another 11 years. Some of the younger Titans do side with the Olympians, with one noteworthy exception, Atlas, who played Turncoat. Finally, Gaia instructs Zeus to journey into the Stygian abyss of Tartarus to claim the weapons needed to take down the Titans once and for all. Zeus made his way to the gates of Tartarus, where he first had to take down the guardian dragon known as the Kampa. He then opened the gates to confront the Cyclopes. However, they are reticent to aid anyone, having been jerked around so many times before. Finally, Zeus promised to free both the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheires if they would fight by his side. With that, Zeus is given the gift of his lightning bolt, Poseidon is given his trident, Hades his chariot, Demeter her bow and arrow, and Hera...
I don't know, incurable wrath?
With that, Kronos prepared his sickle and the final battle began. The three brothers, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades, each took the fight to their father. It proved evenly matched, with Poseidon using his trident to split the ground and almost falling into the resulting chasm. Zeus managed to save his brother and the battle resumed. The battle would continue for another 3 days and 7 nights. It could be heard all the way down at the Arby's on 10th Street. Eventually, Zeus and Poseidon managed to team up to destroy Kronos' sickle, and it was then that the Cyclopes and Hecaton chairs appeared to hold Kronos in place while Zeus delivered the final blow. The era of the Titans was over. Kronos was now dead. In the aftermath, a deal was struck with the surviving Titans, save for Atlas, who was doomed to hold the sky up for all eternity. The Olympians began working with humanity to restore Gaia to our glory days. The Cyclopes decided to remain on the surface, while the Hecaton shares elect to return to Tartarus, claiming that they just don't feel welcome on the surface. Zeus takes his new title as King of the Gods, and begins ruling from Mount Olympus.
Also, Zeus tricked Metis into becoming a fly so he could swallow her and prevent their offspring from possibly overthrowing him. But I guess they cover that in Volume 2 of this, which covers Athena. And yes, there actually have been sequels to this. The final chapter, covering Dionysus, is slated to come out in 2020. Anyway, that does conclude The Olympians, Volume 1, Zeus, King of the Gods. Yeah, that's a mouthful. Anyway, how was it? Well, I admit I'm kind of a sucker for Greek mythology, and I think this does tell the story fairly well for the most part, with some pretty decent artwork that's not overly stylized or going for some type of motif. It's just pretty straightforward, and I think that does help with this, because I think this is meant to be a bit more, not quite educational, but I think you kind of get the idea, like maybe this was meant to be given out at schools, because there's no real nudity or overly top violence in this, really, outside of, well, the castration scene. But like I said, they obviously pull their punches. They say essence instead of something else. But on the downside, the story's pacing is a little off at points. I mean, that whole bit I talk about with Zeus going to the island, that's about 5 pages. But then the final battle is like 15, and this thing is about 65 pages long. It feels a little uneven at times. In fact, it does leave the story itself feeling a tiny bit lacking. In fact, if I were to recommend this, there's actually a compilation of the first 4 volumes of the Olympians. That's Zeus, Athena, Hera, and Hades. And that's been released as kind of like one big compiled volume of those 4. And if you are looking at that, I would say get that, or just get multiple ones. Get volumes 1 and 2 and 3 or so forth. I think that would feel a little bit more substantial. That's why I'm going to give the Olympians, Zeus, King of the Gods, a B. And with that, let's see what we're doing next time on the Random Trade Review.
Hey guys, got a request for the show? Check out my Patreon at patreon.com/sleepytimeforcatproductions. And if you like the video, give it a like, share it, subscribe, and ring that notification bell.